So a federal judge had a whole romantic situationship going on in the courthouse. Not at Applebee's, not even in a hotel lobby, not in someone's DMs after midnight, in the chambers during business hours. I mean, y'all couldn't wait till afterwards at least? And according to the reports, the staff could hear everything.
And I mean everything.
And to say the least, court was definitely in session. But after all that, the punishment was a private reprimand. A private reprimand. That sounds like when your mom says, "I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed," and then she lets you get back on the game. But let's get to it. Cue the clip.
This that Raymundo Reacts, huh? Y'all came in for the laughs, huh? You did. Stay for the commentary cause it makes sense, huh? Real talk.
That boy is good.
Federal judge and a high-ranking Atlanta police official are at the center of explosive allegations.
It involves sexual encounters inside the judge's chambers during work hours.
One court clerk testified to hearing what was described as unsettling noises, kissing, and music coming from the judge's chambers.
Yo, real quick, show the channel some love. I'm 125 away from my goal of reaching 1K, so hit the sub, hit the like, and hype this thing up. Now back to these courtroom shenanigans, because apparently them chambers got a little bit active. Now to be honest, let's keep this fair. The original report didn't name the judge, but later reports identified her as Eleanor Ross, and the police official as Chief Kelley Collier. And according to the investigation, this was not just two grown adults having a private relationship. That alone would be messy. But grown people, well, they do grown people things. The issue is where it happened, how it affected staff, how the investigation unfolded, and how quietly the system handled it afterwards. Because when your workplace is a federal courthouse and your office is the judge's chambers, you can't treat that like a weekend getaway. That's not sneaky link energy. That's public trust with a robe on.
Well, Atlanta police say they have launched an investigation. The judge in the middle of this misconduct scandal is still on the bench here at the Richard B. Russell Federal Courthouse. The Judicial Council reprimanded the judge back in February for judicial misconduct. Last week, a special committee confirmed their decision. This all came to light because several of the judge's law clerks started complaining. The Judicial Council says in its report that the judge engaged in an extramarital affair with a high-ranking police officer. The Associated Press and Fox 5 have learned that officer is a commander with the Atlanta Police Department.
Now listen, I know the internet is gonna run with the jokes because Caught in Chambers sounds like a Tubi movie with a $12 budget and one courthouse set. I'm talking Law and Order Special Reprimand Unit, gavel after dark. Objection, Your Honor. We can hear you. The jokes write themselves, but the real story isn't just the affair. The real story is the accountability gap, because normal people get fired for way less. A regular employee can be late 3 times, and HR starts moving like the FBI. But a federal judge can allegedly, and yes, there are air quotes, can allegedly create an uncomfortable work environment, initially deny what happened, later admit it, and the consequence is basically, please don't do that again. Privately. That's where people lose trust. Not because judges are human, everybody's human. Well, not according to Fox News, but that's another story. People lose trust when powerful people's mistakes become paperwork, while regular people's mistakes become consequences.
The law clerks reported that the federal judge and the commander repeatedly had sexual intercourse in the judge's chambers during business hours within earshot of the clerks.
Like, can we talk about the staff for a second? Because imagine you're a law clerk. You went to school, you studied, you're trying to build a serious legal career. You thought you were about to learn federal procedure, legal writing, courtroom discipline, and maybe get a strong recommendation. Instead, you're sitting at your desk. Is that emotion? No, that's not emotion. That's not mentorship. That's workplace chaos and a robe. And that's why this matters. Because a judge's chambers is supposed to be a place of legal work. Not freaky work, legal work. Research, writing, and serious decision making. But they turned it into a scene straight out of Zane novel. Now the staff, well, they have to feel uncomfortable because they're hearing things through the wall. And now everybody has to pretend like they didn't just hear what they heard. And remember, clerks don't have equal power in that space. They depend on the judge. They need references. They need career support. So when the person with the power creates the uncomfortable environment, it's not just messy. It becomes a workplace power issue. Then there's the other layer. The other person involved was a high-ranking police official. That matters because judges and police officers are both a part of the justice system. One side enforces the law, the other side interprets the law. So even if there wasn't a specific case that was affected, the public still has questions. How close are these systems behind the scenes? Who knows who? Who gets grace and who gets handled quietly? Because public trust isn't only whether a conflict changed a specific case. Public trust is also about whether people believe the system is clean enough to trust. And when the story is judge, police official, chambers, business hours, staff hearing it, initial denial, and private reprimand, that's not exactly a confidence booster.
Judge in the middle of this misconduct scandal is still on the bench here at the Richard B. Russell Federal Courthouse. The Judicial Council reprimanded the judge back in February for judicial misconduct. Last week, a special committee confirmed their decision.
Now, this is the part that really got people. Private reprimand. Let's sit with that for a second. When regular people mess up publicly, consequences are public. You get fired publicly. Your job posts a statement publicly. Your coworkers whisper publicly. Your name gets dragged publicly. But when power disciplines power, suddenly everything becomes confidential all of a sudden. Careful, respectfully, sealed, and handled internally. That's the part people don't like because public institutions shouldn't get private accountability when public trust gets damaged. And I'm not saying every punishment has to be career ending, but I am saying the consequences should match the weight of the office. If you're a federal judge, your standard should be higher, not lower. You sit above people. You sentence people. You decide credibility, you decide evidence, you decide what testimony matters, you decide what behavior is acceptable in the courtroom. So the system expects everybody to respect the robe. The person wearing the robe also has to respect it too. And I will probably suggest not using it for role playing, if you catch my drift. I mean, let's be real. You can't be strict from the bench and loose in the chambers. That's not how this works. And we definitely have to talk about the denial. The judge initially denied the allegations and then later admitted to the relationship and recanted earlier false statements. That matters. That we have to pay attention to. Judges spend their entire career judging credibility. They watch witnesses testify. They decide who sounds believable. They punish people for lying. If a defendant lies, it can hurt their case. If a witness lies, that destroys their credibility. If a normal employee lies in an HR investigation, they could possibly lose their job. But when the judge allegedly lies, private reprimand. That's where the public says, oh, so the rules, they're real, just not evenly applied. And that's the bigger story, not the affair, not the jokes, not the memes. The bigger story is these institutions demand trust from regular people, but give protection to powerful people. This is the exact reason people don't trust these institutions. Not because every person in the system is corrupt. That's too simple. People stop trusting institutions when the discipline ladder has two sides. One side for regular people, the other for powerful people. Regular people get consequences. Powerful people get conversations. Regular people get fired. Powerful people, corrective action. And then the system wonders why everybody's skeptical. Come on now. You can't ask regular people to respect the justice system while showing them that the justice system protects its own like a family group chat. That's not accountability. That's damage control. and damage control isn't the same as justice. So here's my final verdict. The scandal isn't just what happened in the chambers. The real scandal is how quietly the system handled it. Because if you're gonna judge everybody else, somebody has to be able to judge you, and not privately, not softly, not in a way that makes regular people feel like power comes with a backstage pass. Judges are human. They make mistakes, but when your mistake involves your office, your staff, a high-ranking law official, initial false statements, and public trust, the response can't feel like, "Don't worry, we talked to her." That's not enough, because the robe isn't just clothing. It's supposed to represent authority. And if you want people to respect the robe, then the people wearing it should respect it too, and not role play during business hours. But I want to know what y'all think. Was a private reprimand enough, or did the court system simply protect one of its own? Drop it in the comments, and until next time, if you enjoyed the content, hit that sub button to the right and to the left, more dope content. Until next time, I'm out.
This that Raymundo Reacts, huh? Y'all came in for the laughs, huh? You did. Stayed for the commentary cause it makes sense, huh? Real talk.
That boy is good.